the Olight Oclip Pro. Is it better than the original Oclip? About a year ago, I did a review of the Oclip. This is a small light from Olight, and I quite like this light. You can check that review out. The audio in that review is terrible, so you might not actually want to check it out. But anyway, last year Olight came out with a Pro version of the Oclip, and that's what we're going to talk about today. As I do when I do a review, first I'm going to go over the features of this light, then I'm going to tell you what I've been using it for, and then I'll give you some pros and cons of this light. So this is a clip-on light. It has a clip on the back. The clip also has a magnet on the back with a small hole in it, so you could put it on a lanyard, something like that. On the front is the light, and there are 3 lights on this one, which we'll get to. There's a switch on the side that has a selector to let you switch between those 3 lights, and the button in the middle, which is the power button. And on the other side is the charging port. It charges with a USB-C, little flip-up cover, covers up the charging port there on the side. This light is 2¼ inches tall. It is 1.1 inches thick this way and 1.1 inches thick this way. So it is kind of square shaped. Now there are a bunch of light settings on this because there's 3 lights and each of those lights has multiple brightness settings. I'll try to show you what they all look like at night, and I'll put lumens down on the bottom of the screen. Starting with the floodlight, we have moonlight mode. This one is really hard for the camera to pick up. Then we have low mode at 10 lumens, medium, which is at about 100 lumens. When we go to high, high actually starts at 300 lumens, but it ramps down to 180 after only a minute. And the same with turbo, it starts at 500 and then ramps down to 300 after 1 minute. And then spotlight, again, we have moonlight at 1 lumen, and we go through low with 9. Going up to medium, and our high, which starts at 240 lumens, and then it ramps down to this 150 lumens. Turbo starts out at 380 lumens, and then after 1 minute goes down to 240. Low red light, only 4 lumens, but actually shows up really well. And high at 40 lumens, which shows a pretty nice area. And then I did some comparisons between the original Oclip on the left and the Oclip Pro, both in the spotlight and floodlight mode. The red lights as well. The Oclip only has 1 red light mode, but I did show what that looks like compared to both the low and high red lights. You also have a strobe mode in both the flood and the spotlight, and a beacon mode, which is just a slower flash, and then there's also a flashing red light. This is advertised as having a battery life of 144 hours. Now that is in that moonlight mode. That's the lowest setting. I have not tested this in any of the modes to see how long it takes to kill the battery. The button has a small light in it, and that it's a battery indicator. When it's green, it's fully charged. It'll turn yellow when it starts to get low, and then when it turns red, I think that's like 25% battery left. You can switch between light modes while the light is on. You can flick the switch and go from spot to flood to spot to red and back while the light is on. Sort of a side note, on the original Oclip, the magnet is up here at the top of the clip, and on the Pro, the magnet is down here at the bottom of the clip. And the reason for that is the switch here will switch with a magnet. That's why the magnet is at the bottom of the clip. If it was at the top, it would interfere with the switch. Price on this light is $39.99, so $40 compared to the original Oclip, which was $30. Now that we've gone over all of the features of the Oclip Pro, let me tell you what I've been using it for. And to be totally honest, I have not been using this light a lot. April right now, I bought this light in December, so it's been a few months. I honestly don't use this light nearly as much as I did the original Oclip, and we'll get to why in a second. The things that I do use it for is mostly clipping onto a bag or a backpack, clipping onto just a strap, something like that, so I have an extra light. So let's get into some pros and cons, and we'll kind of see why I haven't been using this light. Some pros first. The big pros of this is this solves all of the cons that I had with the original Oclip. If you watch my video on the original Oclip, my cons were the battery life was pretty low, particularly at higher light levels. The Oclip Pro, tons more battery life in this light, definitely solves that issue. My other problem with the original Oclip was having only one button to change between all of the white light modes and the red light modes. Oclip Pro solves that. It gives me a little switch here so I can switch between red light and white light. And if I want to use red light, I can switch it to red, and I'm not going to accidentally turn on the white light when I only want to use the red light. This offers a great combination of lights. Having a floodlight for a nice wide field of view when you're walking, combine that with a spotlight you can switch to so you can see out a bit further. That red light, which I really like having a red light, combining a red light with a spotlight and a floodlight, great combination to have in a small light. And speaking of the red light, another pro is that you have different levels of red light. You have that really low, and you have a higher level red light if you're using it outside. Now let's get to the cons of the Oclip Pro. Con with the Oclip Pro is really the size of it. I understand that this light needed to be bigger to get some of these functions in there. To have multiple lights, the larger battery, it needed to be a bigger light. The problem is because it's so much bigger, I don't use it. The real appeal of the original Oclip was the size. Another con that goes along with the size is just the squareness of this light. It's uncomfortable to really hold in your hand. It's kind of awkward to stick in a pocket. It doesn't adjust like maybe some other lights, so I can't clip it onto a hat and have it shine where I want it to go. It's in an odd place where the size and the function don't seem to line up. Maybe there is no middle ground. Maybe, there's no way to get the features that I wanted in the original Oclip without it being the size of the Oclip Pro. And that's probably the case. The Oclip Pro just really doesn't do it for me. But anyway, those are just kind of my thoughts on it. I like that it solves the problems that I had with the original Oclip. I just wish it had solved them and not gotten so much bigger. You guys, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on the Oclip Pro. Because this is the internet, make sure you leave me a comment and tell me why I'm wrong down below this video. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you next time.